Today I'm going to be talking about extracurricular interests and passions in the lives of students. And in this particular TEDx talk, we'll consider these 2 points as they pertain to the area of college and university admissions. If you didn't already know, this subject just happens to be one of my own passions. I came upon this passion really just by chance. Unlike you, college was never in my future. I went to work straight out of high school into a job as a secretary in a university financial aid office. I married at the young age of 19 and moved to New Mexico, where I continued in the same kind of work. It was my husband's idea to enter the international education scene. And so we moved to Peru in the 1980s when I was just 21 and mother to an 18-month-old boy. At our new school, I worked with a college counselor, and it was then that I experienced the pleasure and excitement of working with teens who were about to embark on a new and exciting adventure, just like you. I was not the counselor then. I was her assistant, but worked closely with her. And when she died suddenly, I was able to continue with her work and show what I had learned. These events propelled me into a career, a passion that I've been doing for over 25 years in multiple countries. And while I may have found the passion by chance, it was hard work and dedication that made this passion a reality. So fortunate to have fallen into this profession, but also know that this is not the case for everyone. Recently I've been reading a book by a very dynamic young man, a teacher I worked with, Jess Kumerlin. The book is called The Leap Process, and in it he shares how to transform your ideas into reality. He says, "I have learned the path to achieving your dreams starts with you identifying what you love to do or identifying what you are passionate about. I have always said self-awareness plays a large role in identifying passions and choosing extracurricular activities that you will be able to sustain and not lose interest in." While I see in the audience, a number of people who understand about the college and admission experience, there are surely some of you who don't. So let me just break it down very quickly, making sure you understand the role of the extracurriculars. Firstly, no matter where in the world you plan to study, your academic performance will be the #1 factor in your admission considerations, the #1. Can you handle the academic level? Will you contribute to the intellectual life of the school? While there is a range of selectivity amongst the thousands of different schools, at the end of the day, you are there for a learning experience, and you have to demonstrate that you have some ability in this area. Test scores may also play a role in your admission. In fact, your IB predicted scores will be very important. But that is not the topic of this discussion, and let's face it, testing is not a passion of anybody's. A personal statement, a way to showcase your writing and highlighting who you are as an individual, is also a component of the application process. And there may be other items that different institutions request depending on the school and what you're majoring in. But finally, and what we're here to talk about today, in almost every college and university application I've seen from around the world, and I've seen a lot, they want to know what you do. How do you spend your time outside the classroom? What is your motivation? Or is the work you do inside the classroom your passion? When an admission officer can see what you do, it may give them a window into who you are. In this process, and I'm talking about the selection process in not only the US, but Korea, UK, Canada, throughout Europe, those who evaluate your files want to know how you will contribute to the life of their institution. These are communities, and they want to know what kind of a citizen you will be. How will you answer? So, we know that most students here at our school are very engaged in athletics and music and service learning. This is a great start. But let's break down what you do and see how it might stack up in the world of college admissions. Let's say you love to play football. Any footballers out here? Yeah, a number of you. Guess what? So do hundreds of millions of people around the world. So how do you make yourself stand out in the applicant pool of all those other football lovers? Let's see. Maybe you're the team captain. Awesome. Maybe you're an all-star. Fantastic. And maybe you're that captain who really knows how to motivate the teammates. That's all fabulous, although sometimes difficult to show in an application. But what if you love football, but you're not very good at it? Not good enough to make the SISA team. But perhaps you're also skilled in video and film. How do you take those interests and strengths and combine them, bringing them together in a significant way? Well, here's an idea. Go to all the games. You get to watch football and film them. Then set up a little business for yourself where you edit film for players who want to be recruited by universities. What an amazing way to combine two passions, help others, and make yourself stand out. Passion within the classroom cannot be disregarded. If literature, books, and writing feed your soul, if your work in one of the labs is what inspires you, find ways to elevate those interests. Start a book club, bring together classmates who struggle with their lab reports. Start blogging, take on independent research, but be consistent and keep it up. One thing universities do not want to see is dabbling. No, not dabbing, dabbling. Doing an activity here for a month or even just a year, then leaving it behind and doing something else. They want to see you stick with something. Consider the student who has dedicated herself to something like singing for 7 years, rehearsing, participating in every musical performance available, and pursuing outside courses as well. This stands out in a significant way because it shows incredible dedication, something admission reps want to see on their campuses. Guys, don't discount your ideas. Don't give up before you've even tried. From little ideas can spring wonderful activities. Be creative, combining your strengths and interests. Think outside the box. But guess what? It takes hard work and time. And if you're not willing to put in the time, it likely won't be an activity that is significant in the eyes of anyone. I'm willing to brainstorm with you, and I have some great ideas, but you're the ones who have to act, and you must implement these ideas. If you're looking to get into a highly selective university, and I know there are at least a few of you who are, consider this story. Gabriel is a student I met in Brazil. He only came to my school for AP testing. He lived up north and flew down for a couple of weeks so he could take these tests to have it on his profile. Anyway, we visited a good bit, and it was clear he was a very bright young man. He told me about a semester abroad he had in Germany, and while there he met a Harvard professor who was teaching an online course called CS50, Introduction to Computer Science. Gabriel took the course, and then he translated it into the Portuguese language so that he could then teach it to his classmates back home in his public school. Later, Harvard posted it on their virtual classroom website. This was all before he even applied. Do you see the initiative that this student took and how it may have impacted others? Of course his grades and test scores were stellar, but these top schools receive many applications of people with sparkling profiles. There is no doubt in my mind that this singular interest that involved into something that could be of use to many contributed to his admission. In Gabriel's case, he turned down MIT for Harvard. Tough call. So I want to stop and say something very specific about applying to the UK and the UK application system as it pertains to this topic. And Sarah and Pranjal alluded to it. In their application, they want to see evidence of your interest in the subject area you choose to study. Therefore, you need to think early on, how do I show that my interest in this subject is real? How do I demonstrate this? One way is to find a summer internship in a particular area. What better way to learn more about a career? You'll gain experience and you'll be able to write about how it confirms your interest and how your learning is complemented. But not every field of work can offer a viable internship. Psychology, of course, you're not going to be allowed to sit with a psychologist and the patient. So this makes your time in the classroom all that more important. Do you see what's happening here? Universities are holding you accountable for how you spend your time, and at some point you'll have to talk about it. What will you say? There's something that's been left unsaid here that for me is very important. All of this that we've been talking about making yourself stand out. Don't do it because it impresses someone. Don't think you have to start an NGO or make your own website. And don't try to do it just to impress college admission representatives. They're looking for real, genuine people who will make a difference, people who challenge themselves and know how to take an idea and run with it, but not people who are trying to create themselves in the vision that the college and universities want them to be. In a TEDx event, Ijaz Ahmad, head of the Bangladesh Youth Leadership Center, you might remember him, brilliant guy. He presented a TEDx on something called Running with Purpose. He says something like, we are running from the time we are born after one thing or another, but do we know what we're running after? His words, follow your purpose. Purpose is what gives direction to your life. Passion is what you like. Purpose is what you value. So I say to you today, pursue your interests for the joy and satisfaction. Be true to yourself. Do what you do because it's meaningful to you, because it has purpose. Be genuine. As the prolific poet Oscar Wilde says, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. And now it's time to dab.